All right, 3, 2, 1. We are live. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to In the Pocket. Today we are joined by Will Sewell from sunny England right now, and we're going to go over our thoughts of the week and predictions for this weekend's up-and-coming fight cards. This weekend, the two major fight cards going on are UFC Japan and Bellator, and straight off the top, I'd say the Bellator card is 100% stronger than the UFC card.
I don't even watch Bellator.
You don't watch Bellator? They've got some good fighters now, so I tune in quite heavily.
Right, who's fighting? Anyone I know?
Well, so this one will be Douglas Lima fighting Lorenz Larkin, both of which have had stints in the UFC. It is the return of Benson Henderson, and it is the debut of Roy Big Country Nelson in Bellator this weekend. So basically, all the popular old UFC stars.
Roy Nelson's in Bellator.
Roy Nelson is in Bellator now. Yeah, this will be his first fight.
Ryan
Bader's in Bellator now. Ryan Bader's in Bellator now. Rory McDonald's in Bellator. Chael Sonnen's in Bellator. King Mo's in Bellator. Fedor Emelianenko is in Bellator. So they've got some good talent right now. They're building it up, and they've got a couple of homegrown like Michael Chandler. He's a boss.
I don't think he could beat me though. That's Sparky's ass.
Considering Michael Chandler beat Eddie Alvarez, and Eddie Alvarez became the lightweight champ in the UFC.
That doesn't mean shit.
So let's get into PS. You've got to lay off those steroids with those little guns you're showing off there.
Steroids?
Yeah, look at it.
Little
flex on right there. Look at that.
Jesus, is this a competition about who's the most alpha now? Because I'd beat that ass.
It wouldn't be a competition, and we'll find this out soon enough. Me and Will have already agreed to a gentleman's fight where there is no rules, there'll be no gloves, there'll be eye gouges allowed, grind shots, spitting and pissing on each other. Anything goes.
That sounds like a German porno. Lovely. Not that I know.
So, let's get into our thoughts of the week so far. I'd like to kick it off with what I think is probably the biggest news of the week. Carlos Condit asking for a fight, saying he wants to fight in December or January. Just tweeted out yesterday saying, yo, Sean Shelby, I'm ready. Give me a fight. And this is someone who we thought was retired. He never said he was retired, but we didn't think we were going to see him again. And now he wants to fight. This is pretty exciting news. You don't think so?
Well, yeah, but I just think it's a bit like, I don't know, it's just creating hype over like Twitter. It's just like all the bitches around the northeast calling people out on Twitter. It happens all the time. Until I see something where they just bouncing someone's face, I'm not really going to be asked, because how many fighters tweet shit at other fighters, like trash talk on the internet and nothing happens?
He wasn't tweeting it at another fighter. He was tweeting it at the matchmaker. Yeah, at the Sean Shelby. He does all the fights. So he's asking Sean Shelby for a fight. He's not a fighter. I
know Sean Shelby is. I didn't know he tweeted Sean Shelby. I just knew he tweeted.
Yeah. He said, "You're at Sean Shelby. How's it going, big man? I'm ready to fight again. I'm ready. I'll be ready in December or January." So he's not called anybody out. He's just asking for a fight.
Oh.
And it would be a welcomed return to the welterweight division right now. I don't think very many people would appreciate his return because he's so good, and he's probably going to beat some people who might have had a chance to climb up the ladder, and I think he might be able to stop them still. However, in his last fight, he did get strangled to death by Damian Maia.
So do you reckon he'd do any good against Woodley?
They already fought him. Woodley beat him. Woodley hit him with such a hard leg kick that his ACL exploded.
Is that the one where he smashed his knee?
Yep. He double-legged him and hurt him a little bit. Then Condit got up, threw like something spinning. Woodley hit him with a chopping leg kick, and his knee blew up. And then the fight was finished. And everyone was like, "Oh, he was injured." And it's like, no. Woodley caused the injury with his power. It wasn't like he came into it with a blown ACL. He left with a blown ACL because Woodley hit him so hard. It would be interesting to see how it played out if he not blown his ACL out. But Woodley's a beast. Woodley's so powerful and so strong.
I thought about Woodley. Just hearing his name bores me.
I think
he's clever champion, granted, but he's more.
With the right dance partner, though, he's very, very exciting. Like, he's had exciting fights. He just hasn't had them recently.
Yeah, because he just wants to keep the title.
And I think, well, it'd be interesting to see who he wants to fight. Does he want to go for another run towards the title, or is he just coming back for like fun fights? Like that would be interesting. You know, I'd rather see him in fun fights at this point in his career. I think he's up there in age. He's been in some wars. I think he could probably beat still five or six out of the top 10 in the welterweight division right now. But I think he'd take a lot of damage to do it, and I think I'd be more excited just to see him fight some like fun fights. Maybe he's a match him up against Anderson Silva or GSP again, or maybe you match him up against Dan Hardy. Now that would be a hell of a fight. I'd like to see that. Even though if Dan Hardy said if he came back, he'd be coming back as a lightweight.
I've got some news. Have you seen this, actually? Because I don't know if you will, being over in America. Rio Ferdinand.
He wants to be a boxer, right? Well, I guess the proof will be in the pudding. And for those that don't know who Rio Ferdinand is, he used to be a professional football player.
Manchester United. What I think would be fun, and it would have like loads of appeal to like idiots, is David Haye. Because David Haye could be like the cornrows versus the cornrows. That would be like if he grew them back, that would be funny. That could be like the hype of the fight.
I was going to say, but Rio Ferdinand doesn't have cornrows.
Yeah, I know, but like back in my day, he did, and that was like it could be made out. Like Rio Ferdinand could have an afro, and I'd still remember him as the guy with cornrows.
Rio Ferdinand did have an afro at one point.
That was your time then, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was that back in the 70s?
I don't know. He's not young either. He's got to be close
to
40.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I don't know, David Haye would take that in a heartbeat just because he'd want to win. Yeah, it's a publicity stunt, and you'd get money for it. Like, you get more money than fighting like half the other bums he fights.
Yeah, I think that's the only type of fight he'll really take. Like a popular person, just to make as much money as he can. He'd probably be one and done.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. It could be an alright fight. I mean, cornrows versus cornrows. So
I've not seen any footage of Rio Ferdinand boxing, so I couldn't tell you if he's good or bad. If I'm honest, I'm not really interested. He's not a fighter.
No. Apparently, he hasn't had a fight. He hasn't been hit in the face since he was a child.
Well, then it's going to end very quickly and very violently for him, I'd imagine.
Funny though, shits and gigs and that. Actually, no. If that fight ever did come off, I'd put money on Ferdinand because I really like. I think he's had bad time, and I think he's got to have something coming as well. I do feel sorry for the guy.
I don't think he'd win.
Well, no, he probably wouldn't, but I'd like him to.
Especially against David Haye. For as much as David Haye is terrible, he would smash Rio Ferdinand.
I'd smash David Haye.
Now, you've got a girlfriend.
I'd obviously use protection.
Let's look at the UFC Fight Night card in Japan. Let's have a quick chat. I've got it up on my screen right now, and I don't know if you can see this or not, but let me just go through this. Out of the 1, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 11 fights on this card. All right, 6 on the main card, 4 on the prelims, and 1 on Fight Pass. So 11 fights, that's 22 fighters. Out of the 22 fighters that are shown on here right now, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them that don't even have a photo.
Well,
they haven't even got a photo of them.
Sounds exciting.
That is so bad. That lets you know all you need to know about the card. It's not very deep. There's a lot of newcomers, and obviously it's in Japan, so they're going to stack the deck with Japanese fighters. Obviously, that's their target audience at the gate. But in regards to the UFC and what it does for the UFC, nothing. There's only really
that's what I was saying, because I've only looked at the card once, and I'm trying to think who's the main event again.
It was meant to be Ovin St. Preux versus Shogun Rua, but Shogun Rua got injured. So now Ovin St. Preux, ranked number 6 in the light heavyweight division, is fighting Yushin Okami, who has not fought in the UFC for 4 years.
That sounds fun.
Not to say he hasn't been fighting, he just hasn't fought in the UFC. So he's not been fighting that caliber, and I dare say he's rolling off the couch here to take this fight and get a payday. I don't think it's going to be... I think Ovin St. Preux is going to destroy him. Ovin St. Preux has come in this to beat Shogun's ass, and I think Yushin Okami rolling off the couch is going to get really hurt.
Yushin Okami's got a good record.
Oh, definitely. He's got a better record than a better record than Ovin St. Preux, 32-8, and OSP is 20-10. So he has a better record, and I'm not debating his fighting skills.
He's got a better knockout rate by quite a bit.
Well, and it's also not the fight.
And submission.
We wanted to see Ovin St. Preux versus Shogun Rua because the first time it happened, it was when Ovince St. Preux burst onto the scene and he knocked out Shogun Rua, and nobody expected him to. And now Shogun Rua has been on a winning streak as of late, and I believe that if he'd have beat OSP, he puts himself right there to be talking about getting a title shot. For as old as he is, and for as he's a black horse in the light heavyweight division, but he's right there, you know.
Yeah. Jessica Andrade is fighting, isn't she?
That's the only fight that I'm really think helps the UFC. Jessica Andrade is fighting Claudia Gadelha, and I think that's a very good fight for the women's strawweight division. Where the
Drew Allen's going to fight next after November 4th.
I think
it's not going to be Andrade, but if it would really help Gadelha out.
Yeah, there's a regardless of who wins this fight, I don't see them getting a title shot next.
I think how's that like? I don't think Andrade would, but I think Gadelha would.
It's very difficult when you go 0-2 against the champ. Claudia Gadelha has already lost twice to Joanna Jędrzejczyk right now. They almost never book a third fight, especially if you're on the losing end of a 0-2.
Yeah.
So she's already down two fights to 0 with Jędrzejczyk. Jessica Andrade has a better chance because she's only down 1-0, so they would more than likely push that, saying she's got better. She just beat the number 1 contender in Claudia Gadelha.
That's a good point.
And so I think Claudia Gadelha is kind of
a gatekeeper.
No, well, I think she probably is the next. She is. There's no debate. She's the next best strawweight after Jędrzejczyk, and that much has been proven because Jędrzejczyk put it on her twice. I think her cardio let her down in the second fight because she was doing damage to Joanna, but she just gassed out in the championship rounds, and Joanna put it on her. And Joanna's obviously the superb striker in comparison, but Claudia is a very good wrestler. She does have good Muay Thai, and she's like a little beast. She like gets all the inches and let go of you, you know? Her double leg's insane. But Andrade, I think Andrade, she's a power puncher. They're both power punchers. That's what makes this fight interesting. And I say power puncher, just remembering they're in the strawweight division, so it's not going to be like crazy.
Yeah, but it's powerful for their weight category. Well, Andrade is definitely. I haven't really seen much of Gadelha, but she looks like a bit of a beast.
Well, she's the ranked number 1. So go.
I know she's ranked number 1, but
and here's my thing. I think she's bad news for the UFC.
Huh?
I think at this point she's bad news for the UFC. She's kind of like Joseph Benavidez in the flyweight division. He's been beat twice off Mighty Mouse, but Joseph Benavidez beats everybody else.
Yeah.
It's like if John Jones didn't get himself disqualified and cut from the UFC, he would be the champ, and then DC would be number 1 because no one can beat DC.
Yeah, he's beat everyone but John Jones.
And he's already also lost twice to John Jones. So they're very unlikely to book the third fight again. They would have to... It was like when Ronda Rousey beat Miesha Tate twice, you know? And Miesha Tate was ranked the number 1 women's bantamweight for a long time, but they wouldn't give her that fight again because they didn't want her to get beat 3-0 because, like, you may as well stop fighting after that. You know you can't beat the champ.
Yeah. I miss Miesha.
Well, she does a lot for the UFC now. She's still on TV. But, yeah. That's the only fight I'm really caring about, and that's a lie. There is another fighter I enjoy, Ishihara Teru. He's Japanese. He fights out of Team Alpha Male. He has some funny catchphrases. He's like, "Where's my bitches at?" in super broken English and stuff like that. And but he got beat off Artem Lobov.
That's the person that changed with McGregor, isn't he?
Yeah, he's like his number 1 training partner. And Lobov just went 5 rounds with Cub Swanson, got destroyed in them, but he went 5 rounds with him. And then, so he's not a great fighter. He's entertaining. He's back in Japan, so I'm hoping for a great fight for him. But he's fighting another Japanese guy, so it's not like, oh, he's going to win because he's in Japan and he's Japanese. His fights are more entertaining, and he's got a bigger character. I don't know who the other guy is. So I guess I'll find out on Saturday night. I
don't really know who any of these guys are. I know it's not meant to be a big show, to be fair, but...
Well, I think I've heard of... Well,
I've heard of OSP.
OSP, I've heard of Okami, Gadelha, Andrade, Gomi and Kim, I know them. Ishihara, I know him.
I think I've seen Hirota fight before as well, I think.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it. That's where I'm at. So there's no superstars really on this. Like Claudia Gadelha, you can argue she's a superstar, but there's no
really standout ones.
No, this was a...
It's anyone that's just basically like...
This is a filler card, in my eyes. This is just to keep the UFC ticking over. And that brings me to one of the final points, because this card, there's not much to talk about. Well, let's quickly do our... let's just do the co-main and main event. Who are you going to choose, Gadelha or Andrade?
I'd say Andrade.
I'll go Gedalia.
Well, I would have said Godala, but I think right, fine, Godala, but I think I want Andrade to win because I think then you've got your next fight kind of like in the works.
Yeah. I think Gedalia will win. I just think she's better.
I haven't seen her, but she looks better and everything. Her record's quite good. Looking at that, her knockout rate's quite bad, and a significant strikes a minute's pretty shit compared to Andrade as well.
Yeah.
But she's got a longer reach, and she just looks like more of a well built person. But she's won considerably more in decision, like more than double than like percent rate than Andrade did.
Yeah, she's
got a chance. It's going to be a very good fight, but I'm going Gedalia, and I'm obviously going OSP in the main event, just because he's had a bloody training camp. Like that alone, light heavyweight hits you, you go to sleep in this sort of thing. You know, this is not a game. You can't just roll off the couch and think you're going to get it, especially at that weight. Like, be interesting to see what Okami looks like after this time away from the UFC. But he got cut for a reason. You know, it's not like he became a superstar like and got brought back in.
Yeah.
The only reason he's getting brought back in is because they can't get a visa in time for another fighter that isn't Japanese.
Yeah, it's not a very exciting card.
Which brings me to my final point, and we'll wrap this up after this, is do you think there's too many UFC cards throughout the year?
No, because I think if you say you pay for like BT Sport or something, you've got like, it doesn't...
You just keep talking. I'll be back in a second.
I just think it doesn't really matter who you fight, to be fair. Like, you've got, like, if you've got entertainment, like, say if you just sat at home and you just come back and you're watching it and then you've just got fights to watch, you don't care who it is, you just want to be entertained. And seeing some people smash each other, the shit out of each other around the octagon. So that's pretty much how I think about it. I think it's good because it's still got fights being active and fighters being active. Because obviously, if you had half the cards and only had the big events, you would never fit all of these like on like bigger cards, and you would never get a look in, and no one would know about them like at all. Like, you hardly know about them now, but if there was more, you wouldn't know about them, and you couldn't afford to put them on the card because then it's just too many outgoings for like nobody's kind of thing. But then you're getting your money's worth if you've got BT as well, because you don't really give a shit who you're fighting. Like as I was saying, you just like who's fighting. You just want to be entertained. If you come in on a Thursday night, you're like, oh, there's now on, but you love UFC and you think, oh, I'm hyped about a fight next week, but I've got nothing to keep us going in between. You switch your telly on, you've got like a little card like this. You might not know who they are, but guaranteed there's going to be some one of them's going to be an entertainer fight, or it's going to be a knockout, or something like that, or something unexpected.
Oh yeah, I'm not debating that the fights aren't going to be quality. Like we don't know half the people on this up and coming week's card, but we neither of us are super excited for this. It's not like it was even the last card. Luke Rockhold was really the only fight that I was bothered about. Mike Perry I was bothered about, but that wasn't a strong card either. You know, the November Madison Square Garden. That's
a good card.
Yeah, Madison Square, that's a card, you know. But the point I think is, I think it's a watered down product. If I'm honest, I'd rather have one UFC a month, pay-per-view, and it's stacked every month. Every month they have a stacked one. And then they make it so, because right now their roster's too big. They got too many people in the UFC. It's simple. That's why they have all these cards, to get them all fighting, you know. If you've got over 500 fighters on your roster, then you've got to fight them 2-3 times each a year. That's a lot of fights you've got to make. So you've got to have a lot of cards, and the quality. I think it's a watered down product. I think you get like, let's look at this Japan card and put it against the MSG card. All right, you've got Cody Garbrandt, TJ Dillashaw, Michael Bisping, GSP, and now you've got Ioana Jędrzejczyk, Rose Namajunas. 3 championship fights on it. Yeah. This card, no one cares. There's no real. It doesn't matter who wins or loses on this Japan card, you know, because there's nobody in it that's trying to make a brand.
Yeah, but a lot of this is like just for like kind of appeal to Japan, like Japanese fan base.
Well, let's take away the Japanese side of it. Let's say this was getting fought in Vegas. Let's say it was getting fought in California. It doesn't matter where it is. What I'm trying to say is, to be in the UFC now, like, a lot of people can be in the UFC. It used to be where if you're in the UFC, you're the world's best, you know? Yeah, there's some people on this undercard that probably could fight in Bellator or ONE FC or LFA or whatever the case, you know? The UFC doesn't have the same caliber. Like, anybody basically can get in the UFC at this point.
It's all about, like, just appealing, though. Doesn't matter who these guys are. If these guys fight and they win the odd 1 out of 3, right? and then they go to Japan and they stack all these people. If they put like kind of undercards like that would be on UFC like in general in America, like a Las Vegas one, like a Mickey Gall or something. No one in Japan's gonna be like, oh, get in Mickey Gall, we'll go see him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you're just looking at the gate though for people to come in.
Well, yeah, but that's what they look at. They're going to look at business.
No, I get it, but they make more money from the TV.
Well, yeah, exactly. But you want to sell the arena out, or no fighters are going to want to fight either. If you go,
but why would you go to Japan?
Huh?
Why would you go to Japan? You've got no Japanese stars anywhere.
Well, yeah, it's not the point though. Like when you say, oh, you're going to have UFC at Japan, that ultimately the Japanese people's going to be like, all right, who's fighting? Anyone big like a Conor McGregor or something? Obviously not, right? Then they're going to look like, is there any Japanese fighters we can go and support? It's something different to do on a Friday night or something.
I absolutely understand it, but all these Japanese fighters that are on it aren't UFC caliber, basically. Look at the co-main and the main event. No, out of them 4 fighters, there's only one of them that's Japanese, and he wasn't meant to be. He wasn't meant to be Shogun Rua. So you were meant to have 3 Brazilians and an American in the main and the co-main event. You know, they don't have any Japanese superstars. If they did, then it would make sense to go. It's like Stipe Miocic is from Cleveland, so when they take the UFC to Cleveland, he's got to be on the card because he's their superstar. There's no point fighting him.
It's like when they have in England, Michael Bisping,
or if they fight in Ireland, they should have Conor. You know, like that's how they should do it. They're going to Japan with no Japanese. Yes, I know Shogun Rua fought in Pride, and that was huge in Japan. That's the appeal, you know. But I mean, for me personally, if they had less cards and less fighters, it would be a much better product, you know? Let's base it on something else. Like, if you've got...
I don't know. I'd rather have as much fights going on through the month as I could.
I'm not saying there shouldn't be... Like, for example, UFC owns Invicta, yeah? And Invicta is... no, they don't own Invicta, but they put Invicta on their Fight Pass. Invicta is another organization, and it's only women fights, all right? But the UFC Fight Pass shows all the Invicta fights. It's like a farm program where they bring the best fighters out of Invicta and put them into the UFC eventually. You know, like there's been a bunch. The most popular one I can think of is the Karate Hottie. She was their atomweight champ for a while. All right, and if they had like a whatever, they could call it whatever they wanted, but like another like the Premier League and the Championship. If they had a championship organization. And they could fight.
It's like a screening division, so they have something to fight for.
Yeah, but and that's what I think. I don't think they should get rid of people because they'll go somewhere else. I think they should have another, like a farm organization where you get an opportunity to build your record up, you fight people at your own level, and you're not expected to be on the big stage, so that when you do get to the big stage, you actually deserve it. You know.
UFC Junior.
Whatever they want to call it. Well, let's just look at it right now. Their Fight Pass early prelims is Abe versus Lim. Don't care about it. Not going to watch it. All right. And I'm
exactly. Like when I watch fights like big events, I just miss out the prelims most of the time. But that's when I'll have my nap because with the big time there.
If once a month they had a UFC pay-per-view, and then 2 times a month they had like UFC Junior events free on the TV. A lot more people would watch the UFC Junior events because it's free anyway, and then they would get to know these fighters. So eventually when they made it into the UFC, they already had a following, they already had fans, and people had seen their growth, and they were already, and my point is they were already UFC caliber, because right now there's too many fighters in the UFC that aren't UFC
should be in
caliber.
like a different kind of division because they're not on the same class as like everyone else,
so
because it's an elite thing. But I don't know. I didn't think you meant about like having the other 2 kind of UFC Junior things through the month.
Well, it doesn't even have to be.
Yeah, definitely.
It doesn't even have to be owned by UFC. Just if there was another company organization that they partnered with.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying it has to be UFC. I'm just saying I see like that's a better idea than just thinking, all right, we'll cut a card out a month and then we'll just have one big one. I'd rather have.
It's like any other sport in the world. Let's take soccer, football, all right? You don't go straight from kicking the ball around in the park with your friends to go and play for Manchester United. You're going to be in an academy of some sorts or through their youth development centre, and then you're going to play. Then you're going to play professionally. They're not just going to pick you up on the sidelines on a Sunday morning from a pub team, you know. Well, there's the odd exception. Ian Wright as well did it, but I just mean in general, you're groomed to become a professional to get that caliber. Like, whereas a lot of these fighters are fighting on their local, regional scene, and then they're immediately thrust into the biggest card, and a lot of them aren't ready. Whereas if there was like that stepping stone, that UFC Junior, as you called it, come in there, you got to get, he's a 5-fight contract, you're going to get paid $5,000 to show, $5,000 to win, or $2,000 show, $2,000 to win, who cares? And if you win enough, say you go 3-2 minimum, or 4-1, or 5-0, we're going to look at you to get you in the UFC. But if you can't, say you go 1-4, get beat 4 times in the junior league, then you're going to get cut and you got to go back to the regional league. Like, it should be more of a program, step by step, on how you get it. Because right now there's no route to get in the UFC. What do? Go to this local organization, knock 10 people out, and hope that you know somebody, or go here, this organization, win 3, go this one, win 3, go this one, win 3. Like, there's no route.
But a lot of people's not in the UFC purely because of the quality. They're there because of the viewers. They're there because they're entertaining. They're there because they can trash talk. They're there because they can hype. It's not as about the fighting ability as it should be, granted, but they are there just because of what they can do, like what shit they can talk. Because ultimately, you could have somebody like, what's he called? Who were you saying the other day, who doesn't like hurting people?
Uriah Hall.
Yeah, you could have like Uriah Hall, that is an absolute beast, but no one's going to get the chance to watch him because he doesn't sell it enough in the press conferences or the weights.
And that for me personally is, I don't like the way the sport's going. I don't like the entertainment side of it.
It's like anything. It's more of a business now than when it's.
Yeah, I just like the sports side, and if I was running it, I'd make it so there's leagues and routes to get in it, so that if
it's the most logical way to do things.
If I'm going to pull out $100 or $70, whatever it is, a month to pay to watch a pay-per-view, I want a stacked card with pay-per-view quality. I don't want a main and a co-main that I'm very excited for, then 10 fights before that are crap, you know? I want 10, I'd even go between 6 and 8. 6 and 8 quality fights, and I'd pay every month to see it, you know? 2 championship fights a month, with some number 1 contender fight underneath that, a couple of promoted guys from the UFC Junior, then a fan favorite fight. That's how I think it should be structured. There should be a template, you know? And everybody knows, we're going to get that every single month, and the UFC would probably get more interest because everybody knows they're going to receive a quality card,
and it's going to have something for everyone. So like, even if it's just for like the half-time watchers, part-time watchers, you're going to have the fan favorite fight to look forward to.
Yeah, like, and you can have the trash talk and all that bullshit that comes with it, but I just mean it gives fighters a real opportunity and a real guideline to become the best, you know?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's wrap it up here.
Have you seen that guy from that Geordie Shaw? He had a fight in BMMA.
Yeah, I saw that he won his second fight.
Still a dickhead. That's what I want to finish on.
I don't watch it.
Sloppy knockout. But it was good. It was all right knockout, but the guy looked out of shape, and it's just boring. It's amateur. So.
All right, we'll wrap it up here. There's a couple of things I want to say. This little podcast is getting sponsored by lovejamesmarie.com, so go check out that website. Potentially, by the time this uploads, we might have our own little Facebook page. I'm not entirely sure. I'm going to try and make one later on today, and if it is, I'll put the link underneath, or I'll share this on the page, and we'll share it.
That'll be my cover photo.
All right, we'll be back on Sunday to discuss the
most amazing,
life-changing Japan card in the world.
Alright, okay. All the bitches will be liking that when you put that on the Facebook.
No.
Like and subscribe, everyone, before I'll come and kick you in. I'll get Chris to suffocate you with his massive titties. Bye!